Welcome back to the Wonder Bros Pod, where we rediscover wonder through the art of storytelling. My name's Cody.
And I'm Josh.
And we are currently on our first series, which is the countdown to Doomsday, every MCU film, rewatching in release order all the way up to Avengers Doomsday in December, where this series will end.
Right.
And today we're talking about Black Panther, which is crazy movie. I've been excited to talk about this one for a while. I wasn't really sure how we were going to talk about it.
Right.
I feel like we got to throw that out up front that we are very hyper aware, especially in this moment, that we are two middle-aged white
dudes.
guys. Yes,
That's right.
And so we wanted to handle this delicately. We both wanted to get like some black voices in on this conversation. Right. Maybe that'll still happen if you're listening and you're of the black community. Please reach out. I would love to actually even post this episode is released. We could maybe still include some of those things. I'd love to post like a video series online of like what this movie meant to the black community as things we just can't understand.
Right.
I know what it meant to me, and how that impacted me, and we'll talk about it just from my own perspective and how it was a nice shift in perspective. But yeah, this movie is it was the first movie that Marvel ever did that became its own cultural moment, and so we'll talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's right. Coogler comes in. He is wanting to do a lot in this movie. He's wanting to create a cultural artifact where our black and brown brothers and sisters are able to experience life with a superhero that's theirs, that also honors their culture. Coogler himself was born in Oakland. This thing starts in Oakland.
Yeah.
If you notice in that, I don't want to get too far down the road because this may be coming up later. If you notice in that opening scene, you can see video footage of the Rodney King riots going on in the opening scene.
Wow.
He is not pulling punches. This is about what is the conversation that we need to have around reparations and around black liberation, and he's coming in. He's swinging hard, which good for him, and it needed to happen. I'm so excited about that. I've talked about this before, where as I'm kind of getting into my opening thoughts on this movie, as you said, middle-class white male American baritone. I am the epitome, particularly in 2026. I get all the privilege. I think I just told you that stupid story about me getting pulled over. I was in a car accident, clearly my fault. White cop walks up and says to me, "Don't worry, I'm gonna make this a cause not determined. Fault not determined. You're not getting a ticket out of this." And I'm like, dude, if I was black, he'd have wrote me a ticket.
Yeah.
He just said it was my fault, and then it made me figure it out. In fact, that guy ended up giving me a ride. And so, like, before we get into this, I do think it's important that you and I talk about privilege just for a second. And here's why.
Okay.
I grew up in a trailer park, and I grew up in a conservative, racist, evangelical, white household.
Yeah.
I grew up that way. And until I was 19 and got into the military, I didn't know anything different. In fact, I don't know if this is going to be able to stay in the episode, but like I remember my football coach coming out to us, and he said, "Guys, don't worry. We're going to do great this year because nobody else has as many brothers as we got on our team."
Oh, no.
Like that bullshit is how I grew up.
Yeah.
And at the same time, every time somebody says something about white privilege, my father, and more so my stepdad, look at everybody and go, "We're not privileged. We're poor white America," which, by the way, there's some validity to poor white America. I'm not saying that. So then fast forward to 2014 when I really start traveling to Africa. And here I am, this poor kid from the south of the United States. I don't believe white privilege exists. And then I walk into a room where there are men and women who are multimillionaires, business owners, pastors who have thousands of people underneath them that are just being discipled every day. And every one of them are looking at me and they're saying, "What's your idea, Josh? We want to hear from you." Why? Why do they want to hear from me? Because I'm the colonizer. I'm the white male American carrying a bag of money working for a foundation.
Yeah.
And for 400 years, the European and then American colonizers, I put that in air quotes just because I want to be very clear that is a clear term and it's a real term, and I'm not trying to shy away from it. even with African aid, the Gates Foundation put this out late 20-teens, so 2016, 2017, more than $1 trillion between 1980 and 2011, 2015. More than $1 trillion in aid went into Africa with zero development. Why? Because it wasn't about development. It was about control. We're giving you money, and that means you have to do what we say.
Right.
It was still happening. No, slavery wasn't still legal, but we were still taking from the African continent. Now, fast forward to this, 2018. Here's this movie being made, and Coogler gets this opportunity to bring light to all this, and to go, what would it be like if there was a nation that got to develop outside of European colonialism? Let's push all that to the side. Here's vibranium, and here is an African culture. And what would that do?
Yeah.
This, you fast forward it, you evolve it to a science fiction with African tribalism, and you see this world that is fundamentally different than the Western enlightened mindset, and how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
What a gift for us in that moment. Again, as a middle class white dude, I watched this movie going, this is a time for me to step back and celebrate somebody that doesn't look like me.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think, coming off of Civil War, where we're first introduced to T'Challa, do you think that the standalone version, like, lived up to the introduction that we got of him?
Oh, I think that the introduction we got to him. So they did it both. They did it both with Spider-Man and they did it with T'Challa. We introduced them as if they already existed and got no information about their background. And that was a really good teaser.
Yeah.
But the movie, the tribes, the fight on the waterfall, the power-fear interactions that happen, M'Baku, right? Like all the border tribes and there was so much. And as a guy that I got the gift, as a kid that grew up in a trailer park, I got the gift for about 4 years of going 100 days a year into sub-Saharan Africa.
Right.
And I watched this movie and I went, Coogler nailed it. He nailed that shit.
Wow.
And I walked away from that going, I don't know that it could have been better. There are a couple things that fizzled, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But you're talking to a predominantly Western wealthy audience who doesn't know a lot about tribal Africa.
Yeah.
And has a lot of tribal African stereotypes. And Coogler did a great job of really honoring the actual culture.
Right.
Not playing into the stereotype, but still introducing us. I mean, the use of Nkosa, the use of the language in South Africa, it's one of the click and whistles. We kind of joke about clicks, but that's an actual language, Nkosa.
Yeah.
And the use of the Wakanda names that have the consonant comma word, Njaku, which is Killmonger, or T'Challa. And how they so beautifully print. I mean, even Chadwick Boseman's actual accent was nothing like T'Challa's accent, and it was just really well done. I think they nailed the. I got to be careful because I'm gonna get way into my spark.
Yeah.
But no, I think they crushed it.
Well, and this is interesting too because you think about like each episode we talk about how like where we were culturally, where we were personally when this movie when whatever movie we're talking about comes out. This one. A lot happened in 2018. A lot happened in 2017. At this point, we're 1 year and 1 year and a month into Trump's first term. There was a lot of things going on. This was a month. This came out in February, Black History Month, on purpose. And this was also a month or so after, if I recall correctly, this is a month or so after Trump said all of those bad comments about Haitians and people coming from African countries.
Right.
Which is crazy timing.
It was the shithole country.
The shithole country.
Oh my gosh, that was rough. That was a rough time.
It was terrible, but this is also, arguably probably when Black Lives Matter was at its peak because it was kind of like that time period there.
Yes.
Of course, there was Me Too. There was a lot of things going on at this time, and Moonlight won Best Picture that year before, I think, or was it that year? And then of course you think about like where we were culturally moving forward from that. The end of 2018 was the midterms. That's when we elected the most diverse Congress in history.
Isn't that crazy?
So, and we were all as a country, and especially as people from you know, being Caucasian, being white, we have our own. That was a period of time where I think all of us were becoming much more aware of how we treat people from different backgrounds and different cultures and different countries, people from African countries specifically. And so we were all trying to like grapple with this when that movie came out. And I'll be honest with you, I think a lot of what was going on at the time got made like kind of overshadowed the movie for me, because when I first saw it, I didn't really like it that much.
Oh,
and it had nothing to do with, like, I appreciated the perspective and I appreciated the culture of it. I appreciated a lot of things about it, but I was like, I don't know. Like, I think a lot of it, and we'll get into it a little bit. Like, I didn't like Killmonger at the time.
Same. Yeah.
And didn't
at
the time. And then, and just purely talking about a movie's perspective and specifically MCU movies, I've seen a lot worse villains portrayed since then. So when I went back and watched this movie, I had a completely different take on it. And much like Guardians of the Galaxy in some ways, right? Where it's like I watch it with new eyes. I watch it with a new perspective, and I appreciated it so much more and realized I was being very, very hard on this movie as a whole, and on Michael B. Jordan, because I thought when I first saw this, he ruined it for me.
Oh, wow.
Just the way I thought it was so over the top and such a caricature it felt like of like, you know, okay, you're from Oakland and you're like this like hard knocks dude who's coming in with and wants to release all of the things from Wakanda, but you were wanting to go weapons direction and all this stuff. So it's just like, it felt like kind of cliche to me. And so at the time I didn't like it, but I look back on it now and I feel very differently about it. I have different fizzles than what I had the first time.
Very fair. Meaning the progression, because I think I felt that too. I felt that if you would have asked me in 2018 what I thought about the movie, I would have said something like, this feels like a really important cultural moment for Black culture. I'm not sure I got it.
Right.
Fast forward to a second Trump term, where as of the filming of this, we've just had a UFC fight on the fucking White House front lawn.
Yeah.
A bunch of the world is going crazy.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting time to be an awake middle-class white male American. Yeah. Because if I wanted to close my eyes, I could benefit from a lot right now. But if I want to open my eyes and realize just how much danger the rest of my American or North American or Earthling brothers and sisters are in right now because of what's going on in the United States, in our country.
Yeah.
I went back and rewatched this movie, and I actually began to... I don't want to say relate. I honored. I was able to honor more of what Killmonger, where he's coming from, his anger, his rage. He grew up during the Rodney King riots. He grew up in Oakland. He grows up knowing that even if he were just a Black American, it would have been rough for him. But he also knows that he was a prince of this place called Wakanda. And so his whole life, he's like, I came here with one thing. And you hear it later on. He's like, I came here with one purpose. I'm going to kill you, take the throne.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to liberate the entire Black world. And I'm like, okay, 2018, I didn't get it.
Right.
2026, looking at people that look like me, hurting people that look like him, I'm like, fuck, dude, I should just back up and let him do his thing, honestly. At this point, just don't loop me in with the rest of the motherfuckers.
Right.
What do I need a gun? What do I need to do? How do I help?
Right.
Because I'm actually on Killmonger's side in America.
Yeah.
In 2026. Nonviolent. I'll be careful because there are people listening to this shit. But like,
sure.
I hear it.
Yeah. I felt that same way when I watched it this time around. I felt like, whereas I criticized that character's portrayal, the way it was written into the story, I criticized it the first time. This time, I actually felt like Michael B. Jordan was actually playing a character that was the surrogate for the American people watching it, and especially American Black people. I think that was, but I also related through Killmonger's eyes a lot more than I did the first time. So it was like, okay, I kind of get it actually. Yeah. And and a random side note for those that are listening that are not from where we are from in Chattanooga, Tennessee, I went into this movie and was also reminded the second time I watched it, or this time I watched, I've seen it more than twice, the Chattanooga connection of this, because Chadwick Boseman was, before he was a household name in the Marvel world, he played in the movie 42, which was filmed here. Yeah. And so I knew of him from that because that was such a big deal at the time. We'd only had 2 movies ever filmed here that I know of. Oh yeah, and then to take it out of the TV and film world, Chattanooga's role in the civil rights movement is actually really very, very white.
And for people that may not know this, if you're listening to the "I Have a Dream" speech, there's a moment where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. says, "From the top of Lookout Mountain to," and can you just, Lookout Mountain is just south of Chattanooga. He's calling out my bosses,
right,
from 2011 to 2018. Mm-hmm. He's calling out those families, that have funded the systematic oppression of black people.
Yeah, it's we always say it's where the old money is. It's where people lived up there. They've lived up there for generations.
Yeah,
looking down on all of us.
For any person who wants to visit Chattanooga, Tennessee, quick commercial. It's a fantastic town, ranked number 1 in by Outdoor Magazine and Outdoor Sports. There's so much here, so much beauty, so much life. Go to the Incline Railway and decide whether or not you want to ride it. But when you go to it, realize why it was built. Do you know this?
No.
Oh, that was built by the rich white people on the top of the mountain, so their servants could ride up every morning.
Oh.
This area that we know as St. Elmo, that's been gentrified and turned to a cute little hipster white area.
Yeah.
That was where black people prior to the Civil Rights Movement lived, and they rode that fucking tram up to go work in the white people's houses in Lookout Mountain.
That's so crazy.
And so
Kinda
now
makes sense, but yeah.
Now it's a fucking tourist attraction.
Right.
But no, they didn't have cars. They didn't have a way to get up the mountain. So they went and they rode this trolley up.
Wow.
And so if you do come to this town, please enjoy the aquarium. Enjoy. Come fucking call us. We'll go have coffee together. But also go to the Incline Railway and realize what you're doing.
Yeah, and there's so much of that history everywhere. I mean,
right.
Obviously, there's massive Civil War things that are here. We have entire battlefields that are, remembering all of that area. But yeah, there's endless amounts. Where everywhere we turn, there's Black history that that is and should be acknowledged in this city.
That's right.
All right, so let's get into the origin story a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
Black Panther in the comics. So created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby in the Fantastic Four number 52 in July of 1966. That it's important. We'll come back to that. The first black superhero in mainstream American comics. Lee directly said the character was created to address the lack of major black heroes in American comics. He debuts against the backdrop of the Civil Rights Movement. And then a lot of people, this has always been a point of conversation, I feel like, whereas we have a hero named Black Panther. We also have a movement that was the Black Panther movement.
Yeah, also started in Oakland, by the way.
Yeah, and also in the same year.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's interesting to think about, but the Black Panther comics technically came out just months before the Black Panther movement started. So a lot of people thought it was the other way around, but technically, I think, based on that information, the Black Panther movement would have it was a fully complete coincidence, or they took the hero that maybe had been inspiring people, but it just come out. So like at that point, they probably the movement was already starting, right?
Yeah,
so,
I wonder if it was the other way around. This is something that I don't know enough about.
They say it's not.
I don't know enough about Lee and Kirby. They've really done a great job of bringing a diverse group of superheroes to the Marvel universe over the years. But yeah, I do have a question that if Stan Lee were alive, I'd love to ask. I'd love to know.
Well, Kirby actually was the one who was sketching Black Panther early on, and originally the name was the Coal Tiger.
Oh, okay.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
You can imagine a world where Coal Tiger gets an Oscar nomination. It just doesn't sound as good.
Not at all. Not at all. Also, let's not relate black people to coal, right?
Right.
Hey, Jack, thank you.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Right, yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, also, and this is something that came up, M'Baku, he's actually considered in the comics, he's the gray ape, and they actually dropped that moniker entirely.
Good.
Yeah, so that it didn't move towards more racism here.
Yeah,
they still gave him the gorilla mask and they still let him fight, and he looks like, and they even go, they have everybody doing that. But yeah, actually kind of backed off the moniker. He actually is a named character in Marvel Cinematic Universe. They just use his name rather than his, which is a good call.
There's a lot of changes in this movie that happened. Some of them are the opposite of how it actually happened in the comic books, which is interesting that you see Ryan Coogler make some very big choices in this movie to completely reverse some of those things, because Black Panther was originally, it was supposed to be more of like an Americanized version, and then that T'Challa was like the bridge between Americans watching or reading these comics and having someone to relate to, but then Coogler was like, no, I'm going to flip that on its head. He's actually fully immersed in this culture, and we're going to make you guys go into this culture and experience it firsthand, which I thought was such a great decision. It's great. But all that to say, so a lot of people, and when I say a lot of people, I mean probably racists, wanted to, shit on Black Panther because it's named after the Black Panther movement, and of course you always hear all this shit about like painting them as terrorists and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So you have all this negative connotation around it, but actually it was not political at all. They named it. It's just a cool ass animal. Yeah, but now it stands for so much more, and of course today and throughout history since the 60s, it holds so much weight to that whole experience. Yeah. But we have, Wakanda was kind of like a Cold War invention in 1966. The comic is actually kind of a Cold War story. Wakanda is configured against fears of African decolonization. And T'Challa, like I said before, is presented as kind of an Americanized leader to make him palatable to U.S. readers. But Don McGregor had a comic run from 73 to 75 called Panther's Rage. And that's where actually the majority of, like, Ryan Coogler owes a lot to that story. Yeah. It's a run that gave T'Challa real depth. McGregor, who is a white writer, oddly enough, took the character very seriously as a political figure. And so set in the story in Wakanda and dealt explicitly with colonialism, democracy, and a country torn by infighting. I think that was a really great adaptation of this character that added a lot of depth and is the reason we got the storyline that we have now in the MCU with Black Panther. So it's great. Yeah. And then of course to focus a little bit on Ryan Coogler, like getting to be the defining hire for the MCU that defined Phase 3 and also their Prestige era. There's Prestige of like getting an amazing cast of people who have down the list been either nominated or won many awards, right? We're talking about quality, top-notch actors, some of my favorite actors.
Bassett? Yeah. Come on.
And we'll get there, but in her performance in the second one, oh my God. I still tear up when I watch this. She's incredible. Yep. But yeah, and so I think that's something that's worth noting because he only had 2 movies before this, one of which was Creed in 2015, where he worked with Michael B. Jordan. I never saw that because I was never into the Rocky stories and all that stuff, and I knew that was a spinoff of that. But that was it. And so like and Marvel hired him because of those movies. I mean, they wanted something different. They wanted to try to give an opportunity for this movie to exist in its own right and in its own culture and its own context.
I mean, the other black actors that we had Denai Gurira. We had we played Michonne in The Walking Dead. Right. I mean, we got Letitia Wright, of course, Angela Bassett, certainly Michael B. Jordan, and you got Chadwick Boseman just crushed that role.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To the point where he is the once and future king, right? That's an old Arthurian phrase, the once and future king. Right. But you come back and he's the forever king in the second Wakanda Forever. I mean, just nailed it. Even the white actors they brought in, right? I mean, they bring in both Martin Freeman and they bring in Andy Serkis to play Claw. Both of whom have had a lot of experience in these multicultural spaces, and I think they did a really good job.
An amazing job.
Really good job.
Yeah, and we have to mention, because I didn't realize this until I was reading about it recently, but I didn't realize that Chadwick's colon cancer diagnosis he got before in 2016.
No, I didn't know that. Wow.
That's what I'm saying. So he was filming this 2 years into his diagnosis and treatment. He filmed the first Black Panther and Civil War. So from the very beginning, he was fighting this without letting anybody know and giving his career-defining performances in so many ways. And just, what a monster of an actor. And he was incredible. But yeah. But of course, after he died, everything was like overshadowed by that. Like they had to try to pivot and make a movie that honored him both as a person and as an actor, which was, or as an actor and as the character he played, which was tricky. And, tricky. And we'll get there. But that's a great movie.
Yeah. And mixed reviews on that.
Mixed reviews, yeah. I mean, I didn't like the villain in that one. at all.
Yeah,
It was
right.
kind of silly, but I thought that the culture was dialed up to 11,
Yes.
more so than this movie, because I felt way more immersed in it, and I cried like a baby in that one. But a lot of it was, I think, because we were all the Chadwick Boseman death and all that was very fresh, and they spend the first 20 minutes or 15 minutes basically honoring that and trying to make that part of the story.
It's one thing to have a Spider-Man movie that honors the death of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
It's another thing to have a Wakanda movie, a Black Panther movie that honors the actual death of the actual actor who paved the way.
Yeah.
That was, what they did with him, God bless him.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Tiny pivot before we move into the pool list. I thought this was so funny. I saw it on the internet. I'd love to think that it was mine, but it's not.
Yeah.
The only two white guys that played in this movie.
Of course.
They both played in The Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
So they're the Tolkien white guys.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Uh-huh. My brother just had a baby, and he, as of right now, hasn't named him yet. But he told me months ago that he was going to name him Bilbo, and so I just keep calling him Bilbo. And I was like, that's going to be my nickname for him until he's an adult.
Better be his fucking middle name.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That's good. All
right, let's move on to the pull list.
Yeah, what you got?
The underground casino fight. In Busan, South Korea.
Yep.
The choreography, the cinematography, the one-shot feeling of the whole thing. Obviously not one-shotted, but it feels like a one-shot. And I thought that they did that mostly seamlessly. There was some moments you can definitely tell it's different takes, but the way that it moves through at that time, it struck me this time because I remember thinking like we didn't have a lot of that in 2018.
Right.
This feeling of like that it's a one shot, it's a oneer the whole time.
Right.
I just thought that was really interesting, genuinely innovative and fun for an MCU movie. Coogler actually had an on-set editor editing in real time so he could see what he was getting from that scene.
Oh, wow.
From that entire scene. He was editing in real time to make sure that's what I want, move on to the next section. And it's just like, that's unheard of. That never happens. It's crazy.
You seen the movie Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene where she's like in the middle and she's like blading like 50 different so it felt like that to me right in the beginning because it's like who all is in this fight, right? Like who's in this fight? And then I loved that scene. I especially enjoyed it as it progressed out onto the street.
Yeah.
And you've got Shuri remote driving a car. You've got Black
Super
Panther
creative.
on top.
Yeah.
You got him like grabbing the ground. And as he's grabbing the ground, they're getting that wide turn. And he's like, hey, oh my gosh, man. I remember watching. And fucking Ryan Coogler, man. Like the hip hop background playlist.
Amazing.
I'm like, dude, I'm like, why? I wish I wasn't white. I wish I could. I'm serious. I wish I could love this even more.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't white watching this thing, man. I was like, this is an incredible scene.
It's an incredible scene.
So well done.
Filmed in 2 weeks, from what I read when I was looking up some things about it. But
crazy.
And also always forget that this is where we get our Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is crazy that he's in it.
He's like, I'm going to take these chips with me.
Yeah. Which, and every time I see his cameos now, it's always like a little bit of a twist of the knife in the gut. It's like, I miss him so much.
That's right.
But yeah, what about you?
Mine's actually a little earlier. The very first cliff fight scene, the first where M'Baku comes up, and here's what I liked about it. We talked about this a little bit with T'Challa's arc in Civil War. This is going to end up being one of your fizzles, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Fuck you.
When I tell you why, though, I think you'll agree with me.
Okay.
But we'll get there.
Okay. But when we were talking about Civil War, we were talking about the power fear worldview. Remember that conversation? Talking about guilt, innocence. Okay.
Of course, yeah.
So
I also edit these episodes, so I hear them multiple times.
That's right. That's right. You hear my voice more than anyone else.
Yep.
That's right. I love you too, Cody. That's right. So that power fear worldview, to actually watch it play out, all the tribes come up and he says, who will challenge me? And none of them will.
Right.
And so he's like, okay, well, I guess I'm in charge. And then M'Baku comes up and goes, I'm not going to let you have this for free. No. You need to prove that you can do it. And even the arc of this story, it's going to come up in my spark in a minute, though. Or it's going to come in my poll, later poll, so I'm going to hold off.
Okay.
It has to do with Killmonger and in the power fear worldview. But so watching them fight and watching them get to the end. And then now there was a part of that where I jumped the shark a little right at the end of it. And I'll talk about it in the fizzle. But But
It'd be real funny if we have the same one.
Oh yeah, okay.
Again.
Yeah. But as a whole, this idea that you're going to actually depower him, make him be human, and make him fight for his position.
Yeah.
It felt very African culture. It felt very honoring to a group of a bunch of tribes coming together in a confederation to work together, and whoever's the strongest gets to lead.
Yeah.
And that's very much in that power field worldview. And I thought, hey, that's actually a really smart way to do this in a way that wouldn't connect to a white Western audience.
Yeah.
But might connect to a black Western audience and will certainly connect to an African audience. Yeah.
My next pull is, it's funny because I was just like shitting on the whole performance of Killmonger from like the first time I saw it, but two of my pulls are Killmonger.
Go for it.
So Killmonger's airport reveal, and so like in the way that like, so the turn, right, is big in this moment. And I don't remember it being so impactful before. This time around, thinking about the idea that like this whole time you feel like his character is a part of a team and it's this organized thing. And then you find out in that moment, he was always alone. He was always on his team. Everybody was expendable because it will stop at nothing until he gets what he wants.
That's right.
And that to me was such an interesting turn for the story because we don't see that as much that often. I mean, we kind of see that in Civil War with Zemo. Yeah. It's hard to go backwards. But we see that with Zemo, where it's like, oh, you actually realize he's not going to stop. Like everyone was expendable in that regard, and as long as he got what he wanted. And so in this, that's when I started being like, okay, take Killmonger seriously from now on. Like this is a serious character with serious goals, and anyone who gets in his way or drags him down, they're expendable. And so that was a very interesting scene for me. I thought that was really well done, genuinely surprising, unsettling, like everything about it was like. And I do hate that was where we saw Andy Serkis's character die,
right?
Because I feel like he was actually a really great. He brought a level of chaos to the story that I think they actually could have kept going with a little bit longer.
He was a little like the Heath Ledger Joker.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to burn it down. I don't give a shit. I'm going to burn it down.
Doesn't matter.
That's right. So that was my next pull. The one that I said I'm going to wait until a minute, but then you started it. So I'm going to finish it.
Go.
Because again, in that power field worldview, he drags the body of Claw. Claw has killed our people and stolen our vibranium. I'm the one who brought him to justice.
Yeah.
Not the Black Panther. I did that. And I did it without the Black Panther's power. And you see it happen with Wakabi, the leader of the border tribe. He's like, actually, this is my king now.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll take him.
Right.
And you see again, because, and we talked about this, there is an expectation on T'Challa in Civil War that T'Chaka's dead, and he has to avenge the death of his father. And we watch a story arc that is actually threatening his claim to the throne because he's forgiving his father's killer. And fast forward to Black Panther, that's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not that Killmonger showed up, because if all the border tribes had circled up on against Killmonger, he's just dead. Not a big deal. He's at that point, he kills a few people because he's an assassin, but he's not a super soldier.
Right.
He's fine. But instead, he gets the backing because of that power field worldview, and because he's bringing a criminal to justice who had killed Wakabi's family.
Yep.
And it's that,
and he was so disappointed that T'Challa didn't do it.
T'Challa didn't do it.
He wanted him to, and he was like, he wants to bring him to justice. And he's like, no, I want him dead. I want his head.
That's right.
Right, on a spike, right?
That's right. And what we have to be very careful of. So our own Declaration of Independence in the United States.
Yeah.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their creators certain liberties, including life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Skip down 13 lines. The King of England has failed to protect us from the indigenous native savages. We dehumanize the American indigenous population in the fucking document.
Right.
Okay. The same one we said all men are created equal.
Yeah.
So we got to be really careful whenever we look at the power fear worldview and we look at M'Baku or Wakabi, and we look at these guys who are living out their own very complex, rich, nuanced culture.
Yeah.
And just because it's not our culture, we would want to dehumanize it and say it's less than ours. It's not.
Yeah.
It's also a human culture. It's a very valid way to look at the world. In fact, most humans, for as long as there have been humans, have been more aligned with the honor, shame, or the power, fear worldview, and have been more aligned with these kinds of things.
Sure.
If you bring my parents' killer to justice, I owe you a life debt, and I'm going to follow you. And so it happens here, and it actually becomes one of the strongest defenses for Njobu's or Eric Killmonger's claim to the throne. He has got a legitimate claim to the throne.
Right.
I'm a cousin of the current king, and I'm the one who brought the bad guy to justice. I have a legitimate claim. He wasn't actually necessarily a villain. Now, of course, he's a psychopath. And a bunch of other stuff happening.
Sure.
But at that level, this is a legitimate fight between two between two people who have a legitimate claim to the power structure there, the power throne.
Yeah, and two in really opposite sides of the same coin in every possible way.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in the gutter.
Yeah,
but yes,
sure.
exactly.
Technically, you're next. Do you want to throw in? Do you have another poll?
Killmonger's death.
Oh, yes. It's on mine as well.
Yeah, just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who jumped from the ships because they knew that death was better than bondage.
Oh, one of the most genuinely devastating lines in all of the MCU film.
I'm crying right now. Like, I mean, dude, I watched that. I think I've told you this. So, my favorite city in the world is Dakar, Senegal. I got to go twice in my life when I was traveling to Africa, and in Dakar, there is a statue, and it's a huge statue. They have an elevator, you can go to the top, that kind of thing.
Wow,
it's a big one. And it is it's an African man. Actually, I'm going to bring a photo up for it while you're talking next. It's an African man and a woman and a baby, and the baby is pointing. And if you draw a line from the finger, it's pointing at the Statue of Liberty.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Huh.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Who built that country? Oh, we fucking did.
Right.
Yeah. Because if you then get to the coast in Dakar and take a little ferry, you go to an old Dutch fort. And in the Dutch fort, there's a place called the Window to the West.
Wow.
And I stood there. And you walk into this fort and you see the prisons. And you see the plank. And you see the place where you walk, and it's this crazy moment because there's a door and then another door and water.
Wow.
And the tour guide there is talking to all of us, and he says, well, the first door, and he said, walk through the first door and take a look. And you look, and to the left and to the right, there are like recesses where people could be. And they go, yeah, they were armed guards with muskets. Because what would happen is from the second door, there was a plank to the slave ship. And if you tried to turn around, you got shot.
Wow.
And like to stand there. Again, my family, Native American and Irish, French, and they came over after the Civil War. So as far as I know, and I may find this out to be false later, but as far as my family knows, we were never involved in sort of the American slave trade. We were Irish potato farmers.
Yeah.
But that doesn't change the fact that I'm a 6'2", 240-pound, middle-class white male American baritone. And I sometimes say that jokingly.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, again, in 2026, I represent the people who would say, hey, get on this boat or die.
Yeah.
And to stand in that space and to feel I mean, truly, man, I know that you and I are like from a non-religious, neo-spiritual space, to stand in a space where the ghosts of African slaves are just present. It's just there.
Yeah.
You experience it. Wow. And to know that the Senegalese and all of the West Africans are not unaware. I mean, the finger's pointing. We built that nation. We did. We did. Man, it was so intense to watch. So yeah, to have Killmonger fighting a black man, he's fighting another African. But when it came time to let me get you back and let me heal you, and he's like, no, I'm not going to prison. Bury me in the ocean with the guys that know that death is better than bondage. I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then to have the love of a cousin drag him up to see the sun because his dad said the sunrises and sunsets in Wakanda are more beautiful than anywhere else in the world. To see the love of a brother there, man, dude, I got crushed. I got crushed in that scene.
Yeah.
It's almost the best scene in the MCU for me. Is the Killmonger's defeat until his death.
I agree. Yeah, and getting to see, he always wanted to see a sunset, a Wakandan sunset, and he let him do it. It's just like such a moving moment. All right, so my last pull is it's the final fight scene, but only a portion of it, because the second half of the fight scene makes it into my fizzles, I think. But the first part, the falling through the air and fighting while in the air, upside down, just like falling down what feels like an never-ending cavern of vibranium all in the background. You see it it was a great shot. I think it was really good. I thought it was really creative. It definitely stuck out to me. And then they have to ruin it by giving us a very bad CGI fight scene on a monorail or whatever the hell that thing was. It's just terrible. I hated everything about that fight scene. But the fall through, and I don't know if that's really a pull as much as it is just like, I appreciated it. I thought it was really cool. It was a creative way to get us from up there to down here, you know?
Yeah.
But then once we got down here, it didn't land. No pun intended.
I think the pun was intended. I actually did. I think one of the things I did like about that scene, too, is you get an idea of just how much vibranium there is.
Right.
Because in Captain America, the first Avenger, we believe that there's about this much vibranium in the world.
Right.
Turn it into one shield.
Too much of it to make one shield. One single shield.
That's right. That's right. We better find a good guy to carry this, and they do. But then to find out, this is a massive deposit of vibranium.
But it's hidden. So as far as everybody else knows, that is all there is.
Yeah,
they don't know where this thing came from.
Right. I think I hated the final fight scene less. I actually enjoyed it. The CGI notwithstanding.
Yeah, it's just really obvious that the suits are CGI in that moment, I felt like.
But, but the concept of, hey, we're using the monorail to destabilize the vibranium, and then we're turning it on, and now you actually are, unlike fucking Ant-Man's Thomas the Train scene, you actually have a real train fight.
Right, it's true.
A real one.
And it is interesting. It's an interesting concept. I'll give him that.
And then, for him to be able to finally kill him by stabbing through an open spot inside the suit, I was like, okay, this is actually mechanically it worked. CGI, it didn't work. Mechanically, from a storytelling perspective, I think it did work. Yeah, I did. I enjoyed that.
All right, let's move on to the spark and fizzle.
Yeah.
What's your first spark? Or actually, I don't know how many you have. I might just go. Let's go through all of our sparks, because unless you have, do you have like a lot to say for?
I got a few. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So the first one is usually a fizzle for me.
Okay.
The opening storytelling. So he's meta narrating.
Sure.
And I remember sitting down when I was rewatching it this time to watch for the purpose of this series. I was watching it and I was like, motherfucker's meta narrating. But then you realize it's a father telling a son about where he came from. And it got real sweet. And I was like, oh man. I was going to be, and I remember thinking out loud, like, I'm going to shit on this. Oh, no, I'm not. I love it. I'm really sweet.
Conveniently leaving out his greatest sin, killing his brother and leaving an orphan. But he tells the story of Wakanda, but then he doesn't tell the story of like...
I think you're remembering that incorrectly.
Really?
No, it's in Jobu telling it to Eric.
Oh, you're right.
He's telling him about his home in Wakanda.
Right, that's how
he's living in Oakland.
Right,
yeah, that's right.
You're right,
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking, actually.
Yeah.
Cool.
I've got a couple more. What are those? Why are your toes in my lab? If you remember that moment where he walks in with the sandals, and I was like, it's so funny. Yeah. Letitia Wright's character, the sort of connection between the modern and the ancient, and she's clearly the more progressive. She's more technologically advanced. Certainly comes out in the second Black Panther. I loved her character.
Yeah, it was great.
The we talked about South Korea. Claw's entire character. I mean, just
for sure.
Again, the right kind of chaos. Two more. One of them minor. One of them major. The minor one, Killmonger's mask. Because it comes up in the comics, and they find it, and he's like, is that also vibranium? And he's like, nah, just dig it.
Yeah.
And he puts it on. And you're like, all right, that's cool.
Nice little,
And then the biggest thing, if there was any real spark for me, that's like, damn it, that nailed, was Baba Ma'al in the soundtrack. Man, listening to him, Marcus Mumford did a project with him called There Will Be Time.
Yeah, I've listened to it.
It's one of my favorite it's an EP, it's got five songs. It's one of my favorite things to listen to. It reminds me of being in Africa, listening to Baba Mal, and knowing that he had so much say in this soundtrack. I certainly wasn't a primary composer, but got so much to do with this. And every time I hear his voice, I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
It's probably what I would have felt as a kid hearing Elton John sing The Circle of Life.
Oh, sure.
But now it's like I've spent 4 years traveling to Africa, and so I know what it actually sounds like, and it doesn't sound like a British man.
Right.
It sounds like Baba Mal.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you, actually, it was in Dakar. It was in Dakar where I met the griot, who was going through with that 12-stringed instrument, and he was like singing everyone's family tree.
Wow, yeah.
I mean, it was amazing, and it sounded like that.
Huh.
Like, that was legit.
Wow.
And man, I was like, the last time when I watched it for this thing, I was like, oh, fuck, that's good.
Yeah.
Those are really good. Anyway.
That's awesome.
Those are my sparks. Go for it.
Well, I had a few of yours. I liked Lupita Nyong'o as Nakia. That's kind of like the moral center for the whole film. And of course, she ends up being truly the most progressive in the sense that she wants to open up the borders and open up the technology and give it all to everybody.
And not in a way that Killmonger wants to, which is to kill
Right.
everyone.
Exactly.
That's exactly right. Yeah, you end up getting T'Challa being juxtaposed between the two.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
But my first spark, it's kind of great that ties on to your last one there. Ludwig Göransson.
Yes.
His
Brilliant.
score, incredible. He's Oscar winning, obviously, and fully fused with African instrumentation and modern orchestration. It's distinctive, it's singular, and deserved the Oscar that he got for it.
Yes.
And he has been, I mean, truly, he is becoming very quickly like the new like Hans Zimmer.
Yeah, or
you
John
know?
Williams or somebody. Yeah.
I feel like he's probably more Hans Zimmer than John Williams, but I've always appreciated both sides. I feel like John Williams he's still one of the greatest composers of all time. At least in the U.S. but and I say that's funny because he's British. Anyway,
Yeah.
but I always loved Hans Zimmer. I love
Yes.
his use of time, of different ideas, of singular notes and building around a singular note. You hear that in Interstellar, you hear it in The Dark Knight, you hear it so many times. But then to have somebody like Ludwig Göransson coming in and just mopping everybody up, mopping up the floor with
100%.
awards and everything that he does. I see him more on an Oscar stage than like any other composer, it feels like. I just see him, I know exactly what he looks like because of how many times he's won Oscars.
Yep.
And this is where I was introduced to him for the first time. And watching it this last time, I was really able to appreciate the score. It's really, it's amazing. It's incredible.
He did you see the Disney Plus special on that where they talked about in Wakanda Forever?
Yeah.
And they were finding the Peruvian instruments that nobody knew how to play, and they found a way to figure out how to play them in order to incorporate them into the music.
It's incredible.
Dude, brilliant. Oh, what an amazing composer.
Ruth E. Carter's costume design.
Yep.
Also Oscar winning.
Yep.
And incredible. I said, you said Letitia Wright, Andy Serkis as Claw. The production design felt very, what I liked about Wakanda as a whole was that it felt very lived in.
Yep.
It felt very, like textile. I don't know. Not textile. What's the word? Textured. I don't know. It felt very, I don't know. We're gonna move on. I can't remember the word, but it felt more like lived in. I guess is the best term because when I think of like Asgard, for example, Asgard constantly looks like a painting that you can't touch, you can't be in it, you don't know what it feels like or smells like or tastes like, right?
That's right.
But with Wakanda, you feel like you're in the middle of this culture the whole time, and I think that was something where I really did appreciate some questionable CGI notwithstanding.
Sure.
It felt a lot more real in such a in a similar way to where it's like I felt like there was such a distance between us and like Asgard or other worlds that we see a lot of the time, except for maybe in Guardians of the Galaxy. But that had such a Star Wars feel anyway.
Yeah, sure.
I feel like so that's a little different. But yeah, I think that was I think it's really interesting to think about how Wakanda is different as a not real place. They made it feel pretty real. Yeah, and more like the utopia of what we could experience if we would all just like get over our shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what is it called? Afrofuturism or whatever that is. It's the entire motif of like you see high tech, you see like hovercraft, and it was so cool that the first midair piloting plane Not the ones that look like dragonflies, but the other ones. They're actually shaped after African masks with the turbines of the eyes.
Right.
Which makes it so much more powerful whenever Eric Killmonger, as a kid, when Eric sees it overhead. You know? And so you're right. When you look at Wakanda, it could have looked like Asgard or the what was in Thor 4 where they go to all the city of all the gods or whatever.
Oh yeah.
It could have looked like that, where it was all shiny, or
it makes no sense physically.
That's right, or the Sovereign. Like it could look like the Sovereign.
Sure.
But it didn't. It felt a little bit. Forgive me for this, but it felt a little like dirty, lived in, used. It's got traffic. It's got people. It's got little bazaars. If you look at the top of each of the buildings, instead of it being a flat top, it's got one of those rotundas made out of thatch work. Right. And you're like, the thing's built out of fucking vibranium. Why do they do the thatch on the top?
Right.
Well, it's because that's who they are. That's how they've grown and evolved over hundreds of years of having this technology.
It was well incorporated. The new technology with old traditions, I thought was really interesting. What about some fizzles?
Well, I left this in the pull list, and I'm bringing it down to the fizzle or to the spark because I think it comes up when we talk about the difference between T'Chaka, Shuri, what is Lupita Nyong'o's character's name? Nakia. So T'Chaka, Nakia, and Killmonger. They all have a very different understanding of what vibranium should be doing. Right, T'Chaka says we should keep this and hide it and protect our people, and the first time that T'Challa goes to the ancestral plane, T'Chaka sees him and he says, "You're a good man with a good heart, and it's hard for a good man to be a king." And this is going to be the problem. You're going to find out that T'Chaka is not a good man.
Yeah,
killed his brother. Right now, he killed his brother to protect somebody, but maybe really just to protect himself, and certainly didn't take care of that little boy, named Eric.
That was the real.
Njobu should never have been left,
right?
And he was. And then you've got now this angry adult who grew up in an oppressed Oakland life rather than as a prince of Wakanda, And now we start to sympathize. And then you've got Nakia, who's actually trying to do a balanced world here, where we do take what we have, and while protecting our people, we serve others.
Yeah.
And so this idea that it's hard for a good man to be a king, you saw it in Thor, and you see it in here, and it makes you think of Civil War, where he says, "And I ask you, Captain," when he's talking to Captain America, so, "as both warrior and king, how long can you keep your friend from me?" Like he's like, "Look, listen, motherfucker. As a king, I'm not a good guy.
Yeah,
I'm actually just a guy who's protecting people, and I've got interests to protect."
Right.
So that sparked for me again this time. Moving into the fizzle, I got just one really big one that it just pissed me off.
Sure.
The very first time, Okoye, which is the Denai Guerrero's character, the head of the Dora Milaje, she's piloting the aircraft, sitting in a fucking yoga pose. Like, stop that.
Yeah.
Come on, put your hands on the wheel. You know what I mean? Like, you're piloting an aircraft. I get it. You're an advanced technology society, whatever. But come on. Like, are you really like some Tibetan monk? And you're like, come on. That was like, ugh.
Yeah,
stupid.
Kind of silly.
What do you got for fizzles? Because there's one more for me, but I want you to
go. So let's talk a little bit about the T'Challa and M'Baku challenge fight.
Okay, yeah.
So I felt like it really stuck out to me this time because there's a few reasons. And it comes across to me as kind of lame. The actual choreography of the fight makes no spatial sense. Like there's no spatial awareness.
Particularly the submission hold.
Submission hold, but also like, and there's like a moment where he like takes him down, and it doesn't actually look like, you could literally spatially, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
where he lands and how he hits him, and it's just, it felt very fake. Like it was almost jumping the shark in the sense that it was like it looked like they were faking the fight, and so to me that took me out of the story. Now, does the emotional weight carry the scene? Of course it does. Sure. You get to the end, it feels still very emotional, and it was emotional enough that even knowing how much I hated that scene, watching it and being super aware of it. I forgot about it pretty quickly because you just move on.
Yes, that's my other spark, or my other fizzle. My other fizzle is literally the submission hold. So they just had this fight. I didn't have the same experience with the fight because it felt more like acrobatic. It was gorilla versus panther. It wasn't human versus human. They're
Right,
two different styles of fighting.
Sure.
But he's now, if you look at it, I've never practiced jiu-jitsu, but I know enough about it. T'Challa is not in the place of strength when he's telling him to submit. He's hanging halfway off the fucking cliff.
Yeah.
And he's like, your people need you. Don't make me kill you. And like all M'Baku has to do is push his feet. And T'Challa goes off the cliff.
Right.
He's like, he's not losing here.
Yeah.
He's actually just because he's on his back in an arm bar doesn't mean he's in the compromised position.
Right.
T'Challa's the one who's in the compromised position. And that was the moment where I was like, oh, that was badly choreographed.
It was very badly
That's
choreographed.
right. Yeah, that moment right there, I was like, eh.
And at this point, we're nearing the end of phase 3. Like, we know what a good fight scene can look like.
Yeah.
You know, in the MCU, Marvel knows what a good fight scene looks like.
Sure.
I'm surprised that made it past the edits.
It's almost like the CGI needed to be reversed. Like if they could have had M'Baku hanging off the edge,
Yeah.
and then that would have been more convincing because that would have been they would actually felt like he was under threat. But like M'Baku is literally physically larger than Chadwick Boseman than T'Challa, and T'Challa's in the compromised position. And you're like, he's not losing this fight. He's winning right now. Just because he's on his back and beat up doesn't mean. Anyway, yeah. That was a fizzle for me. And you're right. You move past it pretty quickly. But it was a moment there where I was like, eh.
Yeah, the emotional weight feels real enough that you can move past it. But when I'm in it, I'm like almost laughing out loud at how bad it is. I'm like, what is going on with this choreography in this fight? It doesn't make any sense. Another fizzle for me, Everett Ross's entire role in this movie.
Oh, really?
Well, because if you think about it, it's almost like they wrote him in to be like the audience surrogate.
Yes.
And I don't know, whether that works, it kind of depends on how much you can tolerate the whole like, the white guy explains what's happening role. And in this movie, it stuck out to me way, way more. I'm like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, know your place. Like, what is this happening right now?
Right.
And so I don't know what his role was supposed to be, but it was not.
Yeah.
I would have rather seen more of, and we'll get to that in the stinger, but like, I would have rather seen more Bucky.
Yeah, sure.
as the white person, you know, because I felt like Everett Ross, like, not only is he the only white guy for the most part, other than Andy Serkis, but I'm going to take him out because we follow along with Everett Ross a lot more.
That's right.
But he constantly, I feel like, is speaking on a turn. He's learning. He has the only fun thing about his character is that he has no idea what Wakanda actually is. So in that way, we are, as an audience, experiencing Wakanda through his eyes for a portion of it. We both know that it's more than what everybody thinks it is, but also we get to experience him discovering what that is. So that's kind of fun. But outside of that, I was just like, I don't. He's also government. Like, there's so many things to hate about his character in this movie, and I don't know if his character ever really fully recovers in the MCU in terms of like later films and TV shows or whatever. Like, I never really liked him after that.
Sure.
And so,
he gets a little bit of a like you don't belong here arc into participation arc whenever they use the vibranium sand to create the cockpit so he can fly the ship. I mean, they you're right. That feels like that's the point. The point is you don't belong, colonizer. Well, now you've decided to back our play, and so then now you can be one of us. Yeah. But you're not in charge of us. Right. And in fact, you may end up sacrificing yourself. So that you're right there. Yes, he felt more like the bridge to the West rather than an actual vital member of the story.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair fizzle.
I don't really have any other fizzles that we haven't really already talked about. CGI in the final fight was on my list. The only other one, which actually, after what you've said, I kind of rethought this one, is the W'Kabi turn. So his character I felt like he was only given screen time to help the betrayal land. Yeah. But not enough for me, because I don't know anything about African culture. I should know more, but I don't know any. And so for me, it was like, I don't feel like his ideological change in stance doesn't make enough sense contextually, because I barely got to know you, and you clearly are well ingrained. You're partnered up with the head general.
Yeah, Okoye,
right?
Y'all calling each other my love. Yeah,
right,
y'all are together.
You're very into this entire Wakandan like structure. Yeah. You've had, and so either you didn't support the family that was in charge with T'Chaka than T'Challa, or whatever, but that was never explained to us.
Right.
For him to flip so quickly, I mean, of course
Yep.
you talk about like, but it makes me kind of rethink it when you're talking about the power fear dynamic.
Yeah, I was listening for it, and there was just it was a razor's edge of an explanation. When Claw stole the vibranium, he killed Wakabi's parents.
Right.
That's it. That's all we get. Now, by the way, same story. T'Chaka gets killed. T'Challa forgives.
Right.
Wakabi's parents get killed. He does not forgive.
Right.
So we are still seeing this again. We need this conversation to make it make sense.
Sure.
Which means that it didn't make sense in the movie, which means the fizzle is warranted.
Right.
However, we take a pause on it, and you are seeing literally a black civil war
Right.
between two people who love each other, Okoye and Wakabi.
Sure.
But who, because of their own stories, you see Okoye, it's actually even in her, again, talking about costume and makeup. They did extra, so the tattoos on her head were meant to look like a fighter pilot.
Oh.
Yeah, but then they went up with extra, this, by the way, comes from Eric Voss at New Rockstars, which I haven't actually
Shout
talked
out.
about him in weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been weeks since I talked about it. I started to fiend. Actually, I'm worried he's going to break up with me. Eric, don't leave me. I hope one day he sees that.
One day he may know you exist.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, probably not. There are way too many people on the internet.
Yeah.
But he mentioned that you can actually see cat-like makeup on Okoye, which is going to later be an indicator that she's going to back the Panther,
Right.
Not the throne.
Yeah.
Though then she's like, I do actually serve the throne.
Yeah,
has
but you
to-
never believe it.
Yeah.
You never believe she's on the side of anybody but T'Challa.
Not
and
when
his
it
family.
finally matters, right?
Right.
Not when it finally matters.
Because he still helps his mother escape, like she helps. There's a lot of exile happening, and she allows that to happen.
Yeah, there are three parties. There's the Panther, the throne, and then T'Challa and his family.
Right.
She backs the Panther, right? Which gets confusing when there's two.
Right.
And so that's why she has to send the family away. I'm loyal to you, but I have to keep you safe. But I serve the Panther. And then now the Panthers are fighting each other. Now I can move back to the Panther I agree with.
Right.
Which is what happens. Her turn actually happens a little bit more schizophrenic or a little bit more whiplashy.
Sure.
Unlike Wakabi, who is very clearly, I serve the throne and the guy that brought my parents' killer to justice. That's it. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems a little. It felt shallow without
Sure.
context.
Sure. Yep.
Any more?
No, I'm ready to move to the gutter.
Let's go to the gutter. What's your first one?
So this one's really deep, and you really get when you think about Ryan Coogler growing up in Oakland. Think about that first scene where you're actually, if you look at the TV in the back, you're seeing the Rodney King riots. You're seeing a lot of black anger that's coming from the 80s and 90s. You're seeing the civil rights movement. You're seeing the actual Black Panther movement. This first character coming out in 1966.
Right.
And you're seeing two figures, both Wakandans, both with very different stories, very different upbringings, and very different understandings about how to go about bringing justice. Not too different from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Dr. Malcolm X. And so there's a gutter moment here where Killmonger, Malcolm X was notably pro-violence. And it wasn't. I mean, I don't want to gloss over that because a lot of white people have been pro-violence, but he believed that black liberation was primary, and if it meant violence, then violence was warranted.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s idea was we were going to have black liberation on the back of love and on the back of nonviolence. It was the only way we would keep our honor and actually have a place in this world if we weren't violent about it.
Right.
And you get both Njobu and T'Challa looking at each other from very different understandings. Like we both want our people to have a place in this world. One of them says the way to do that is to subjugate the people who subjugated us.
Yeah.
Like Malcolm X would have said.
Right.
And the other one says, no, the way to do that is to love them well, to practice forgiveness and show them a different way, in the same way that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did. There's a deep gutter moment right there.
Sure. Well, and interesting to think about too. What was it? Wasn't Brazil? Who was it? Which country was it? There was two revolutions happening at the same time, I believe, last year. the story of it is really interesting because the people, which were mostly Gen Z, as younger people of the country, of the population, burned down the country's parliament.
Oh, I don't remember this at all. What is this?
And then all got on Discord and elected a new president for the country that was one of theirs. And then that person had to talk to the other countries in the other world and like represent them. And then they basically rebuilt democracy through Discord. And so you see both violence and democracy work together to basically as a revolution for a new country.
Dude, you got to find that, get in the show notes because I can't put it in the show notes or put it on one of the comments.
I want to say it now.
Which I haven't heard that at all.
Nepal.
Yeah. Oh, Nepal.
Yeah, in September 2025, a Gen Z-led protest movement in Nepal resulted in the parliament building being set on fire. The youth-led uprising triggered by government corruption and a temporary ban on social media platforms. So that's what did it.
That's right. Don't take my goddamn Instagram.
So stereotypical.
That's right.
But I mean, it was like the last straw, right?
Yeah.
So because like don't take away our ability to communicate and know what's happening in the world. Like
Right,
there's some legitimacy there, but it's just funny to say out loud.
Yeah.
Escalated when security forces opened fire on demonstrators.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And so that's when it was like,
Square,
so leading to the prime minister's resignation and the incineration of parliament. So it was very violent until it wasn't. And then they just elected their own leaders as a full democracy and just started like re-electing all these leaders and rebuilt their government, which is crazy to think about. And like, I remember watching that from here and going, if only we could all get together, which is exactly what the government doesn't want us to do.
Sure, that's right. Yeah.
But if we could all get together, we are the most powerful force in America.
Of course, that's right.
And it's just interesting to think about like that division and and the different perspectives.
It would be so much interesting. It would be really interesting if, by interesting I mean dangerous. If we stopped dividing ourselves left and right and started dividing ourselves top and bottom.
Yes,
because we now have the world's first trillionaire.
Right. Yeah,
Fucking
and the most it's unfathomable the difference from the top to the bottom.
If you started counting one number per second right now, you wouldn't die before you got to 1 million.
Right.
And now we have 1 million of those.
Right. Yeah. And it's when you really start thinking about it, it's impossible to like your brain can't comprehend what $1 trillion actually looks like.
No,
it's impossible. You can't even do it 1 billion. So.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It's the closest thing to infinite that we could imagine. It's just like at this point the numbers are ridiculous. We don't let it matter anymore. The fact is that if you paid a 10% tax, just 1 year, you'd feed the world hungry.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and he would still have. He'd still have $900 billion.
Right. More than anybody else on the planet.
That he could get a flat 2% on in a fucking bank for no risk and make another few $100 million.
Right.
It's like, dude, you've got enough. When is it enough?
Right.
And so, yeah, if 380 million Americans just sort of went, oh, wow, it doesn't matter that you're gay and you're black and I'm white. And it doesn't matter. Actually, if we just all got together, there are like 15 people we've got to take out of power.
Right. And I mean, and truly, I know. Yeah, it's like nothing.
There's so few of them.
I mean, we do have a pretty big army, but either way, but I think.
Yeah, but they're one of us.
That's true.
I used to get military pay.
That's fair.
I know what it's like.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. You know, how much are you really going to go? Right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, and to take a brief, this has become more than a brief moment of political conversation, but I think it's worth noting that I consider myself one of those people that I don't like. I mean, obviously, far right is incredibly dangerous. Far left is its own kind of dangerous.
True.
I always tell this to my parents because I always talk about how, like, when I talk about Republicans versus Democrats, I'm talking about only the elected leaders that are holding public office. I don't talk about people that way.
Yeah,
you can identify as Republican or Democrat, whatever. But now it's become, obviously, it's so tribalized that we've separated ourselves so far away. But honestly, the majority of us, I still think, are in the middle. As much as I am voting Democrat, I also hate the Democratic Party for what they've done and what they've allowed to happen, right? So it's like, it's a bigger conversation than just politics. And it's what I hope the people that are listening to this hear. It's like, I'm on the side of people being treated with respect and love. That's the side I'm on in every area and every context.
That's right. That in the world where anyone is being mistreated,
right,
it's my job to be on the side of justice for the oppressed. That's my job.
Right.
And the fact that we are driven to a fucking binary conversation,
right?
Like, where else in the world is that true? And we're finding more and more evidence that it's never, ever true in any other place but this goddamn argument that we're having.
Right.
And that's the part that I go, man, I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't stomach it.
To be able to appreciate this movie from a new perspective, and because I think I'm so desperate to hear a uniting perspective.
Yeah.
And we don't have that. And so I mean, I think of like Zohran Mamdani, like you hear there, we're starting to have these voices come up that are speaking that language. Yeah. And it's something that I think the general public has responded to very positively, because I think deep down we're all desperate for like, let's get over the fight. Let's get over it. And this movie really very much made me think a lot about that. And I spent a lot of my time in the gutter in terms of like watching this movie. We kind of already been talking about it. I think that Killmonger's argument was almost right. Like you were saying, like he had the exact same idea. He had the right perspective and the right motive for wanting to take the throne and wanting to open up the borders. He just had the wrong side of the coin on that. Right. And so I think that that's something that is, he's just wrong about his like prescription to the problem.
Yeah. That's right. He understood the problem.
He understood the problem. Yeah. And it's,
And one of the gutter moments for me is leading into that, which is in that South Korea scene. As much as you weren't a big fan of Agent Ross, he's there with diamonds to buy vibranium from a military thief.
Right.
Yeah. The Claw's dealings with the CIA are a gutter moment for us. We don't actually see lot of it.
Yeah.
The gutter here is that Agent Ross's character starts out on the wrong side of the conversation here. He starts out supporting the weapons dealer who's stolen the vibranium and killed Wakandans.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like, if we skip over that, realize Agent Ross doesn't start out as a good guy.
He's not. He's a part of a government that is very much the bad guy. And they just keep alluding to this a little bit at a time, which is always interesting to me. Let's move on to, the legacy. First MCU film nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, changed what superhero films could aspire to. That's a moment that really sticks in my mind, because for all the things that I didn't love about Black Panther, I could appreciate that it brought a real weight and gravitas and prestige to an MCU movie, something that nobody would have ever thought. The only other movie I've ever remembered being mentioned in the Oscars in serious categories that weren't just effects or something was The Dark Knight, which Heath Ledger did win Best Supporting Actor that year.
That's right.
And that was something that people were like, I can't believe that a superhero movie,
That's right.
And so I think that, we've only had a few moments here and there where anything was even remotely mentioned in awards season for a superhero movie. So for this to not only get nominated, but then win 3 Oscars, I believe. Yeah, won 3 Oscars, production design, costume design, and original score. I would have liked to have seen some actors win from that, but again, at the time I was like, I didn't, it was
well,
right.
I mean, I think that was, for me, that was fitting.
Yeah.
The actors did great.
Yeah.
But this story, and this is something that is, you and I know this, people that are in the TV film space know this, but it's often overlooked that the actors are just filling a spot.
Right.
The story is being told by the writers, the directors, and the producers.
Right.
They are trying to bring a new story to life. And for them to get visual effects score and was it costume?
Production design,
costume
design, and original score. So the writers didn't even get acknowledged.
Well, that's the one that's more egregious to me. I think Coogler deserved that, and I think the writers deserve that.
It was only made with $200 million. I'm pretty sure it's not in my notes, but they made 1.35 billion worldwide. Wow. Proved that a black-led superhero film could compete at the highest commercial level. Of course, Ludwig Göransson became Marvel's go-to composer thanks to this movie. Boseman's T'Challa becomes a cultural icon in a way no other MCU character had been at that point. And then we lost him. Everything after this film is shadowed by what came in 2020. And then the cultural impact is incalculable. Kids dressing up as Wakandan warriors. Ryan Coogler, when this movie was coming out, he rented out theaters to show this movie for free to children in basically underserved communities all over the country. So it was really an interesting time for a movie like this to, as a representation moment, 50 plus years overdue.
Yeah.
The stinger. The mid-credits scene. T'Challa at the United Nations, of course, reveals Wakanda's true nature and offers their resources to the world. A diplomat skeptically asks what a country of farmers has to offer. Of course, T'Challa just smiles. And then the speech itself is the thesis of the entire film, and I'll get to that in a second. But then, of course, we have the post-credit scene, which is Bucky in a hut in Wakanda, recovered, learning to live again, and we finally get this. Okay, finally Bucky's back. Like this is where he's been the whole time. It's great, love it.
Yeah,
I think it's worth noting before. I think it's a fun way to end this conversation. Is I just want to take a moment to appreciate the UN speech. So I'm just going to read the whole thing.
Yeah, I think I have one of the quotes from it here. I want you to read it.
Okay. My name is King T'Challa, son of King T'Chaka. I am the sovereign ruler of the nation of Wakanda, and the first time in our history we will be sharing our knowledge and resources with the outside world. Wakanda will no longer watch from the shadows. We cannot, we must not. We will work to be an example of how we as brothers and sisters on this earth should treat each other. Now more than ever, the illusions of division threaten our very existence. We all know the truth. More connects us than separates us. But in times of crisis, the wise build bridges while the foolish build barriers. We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe. Whew!
Oh,
I cried in that speech this time.
Yes, me too.
Because I was like, so, it's like one of those things where you start to think about, like, that's what I was bringing up earlier, how desperate we are to hear something of that language that even in a superhero movie that is not meant for me, it's not made for me, right. But it crosses all those barriers, it crosses those bridges because we all, regardless of where we come from right now in America, we're all experiencing, it's just like how we're saying, white people go a long way in their privilege thinking that things don't affect them. That I don't see those things, so those things don't affect me. I don't see ICE taking my family members, so that doesn't affect me, so it's not real. And when you try to put yourself and empathize with the people that it does affect, then you yourself will become affected through empathy. And then, of course, at the end of the day, fascism comes for us all. It doesn't matter what our skin color is. It doesn't matter where our background is or what our gender or whatever. Fascism will come for all of us.
There has been no example in human history where fascism has lasted
or worked
and worked.
Yeah,
there's been no example of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be, maybe not overtly out loud calling it the label, but to be pro-fascism, to want to build barriers as if that's going to protect us.
Right.
Knowing that which we resist persists.
Mm-hmm.
Every tide washes out the sand's castle. None of these barriers have ever lasted in any part of history.
Right.
Ever. To then go, well, then how should we live? Build bridges.
Right.
Build bridges, become one tribe. Because if we could become one tribe, we would recognize that most of the universe is just fine with the death of the human race.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the universe. The cold void of space doesn't give a shit about humans. Mm-mm. Most of the animals don't care about us at all, would be happy if we weren't there. We're eating fucking half of them.
Right.
They'd be fine with us.
Or killing the things they eat.
Yeah, they'd be fine with us not being the apex predator.
Yeah.
We talked about this early on in one of the previous episodes. The only real threat to humans in groups is other humans.
Right.
We are the apex predator.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are things that could kill one of us at a time, but nothing could kill all of us.
Yeah.
Except each other. And we're doing a goddamn good job of it.
Yeah.
And to be the person who doesn't look like me, but even then says, we're going to build bridges. Here's where I think it's coming up for me. The phrase, it's an adage. It comes up in a lot of different spiritual literature, not just in any one particular religion. We talk about, do unto others what you'd have them do unto you.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a backhanded part of that, which is like, what you do to others, they will do to you.
Mm.
And that's what I think the fear is. I think the fear is that there's a group of people out there that look like me who are really worried that if they give power to people that look like T'Challa, they're going to get oppressed, and they're not ready for that.
Right.
And so we had, and I mean, look, again, not a political podcast. We had a black president who was a bridge builder, doing his best to build bridges. Wasn't a perfect president, was a damn good one. I think he was a great president. And we got so mad about that and so scared that we elected a fucking bigot twice.
Right.
And that thought that we got so threatened by the bridges he was building that we had to start, literally, we're going to build a wall.
Yeah.
Literally, we're going to divide and conquer. Literally, we're going to then have a secret police dividing families, building barriers.
Mm-hmm.
This movie was produced and released in 2018. In 2026, we need this message so much more.
Right.
We needed it then. We might die if we don't get it now.
Right.
The American experiment's 250 years old. We might not survive it.
Right. Yeah.
And it's because of that speech that I go, man, if we could just hear that, if we could hear that, man, God,
Well,
next movie.
the next movie.
We will find out what it's like when we divide half of the
Right. Of
people.
Everything.
We'll divide it in half.
Avengers Infinity War is next. The Russos return. Half of All Life ends, and kind of been building up to this since Iron Man. We're going to see the completion of a story arc. We're coming up to that. A major story arc makes me cry every time. And this movie is the beginning of that story. And of course, we see the Sanctuary 2 ship that closed out Ragnarok finally arrives for real.
We are going to watch everyone lose.
Yeah.
Everyone, including the villain.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to lose something incredibly dear to them.
It's crazy.
In fact, what we just said, that in times of crisis, the wise build bridges and the foolish build barriers, we're going to watch what happens whenever everyone starts building barriers.
Yeah.
Whenever at the end of the day, we cannot find another way other than violence. And everyone's going to lose in the universe.
Right.
Because of this.
It's true. Well, that's a wrap on this one. If you're not already following us on socials, we'd love to have you over at Wonder Bros Pod across Instagram, TikTok, Threads, wherever you want to find us. At Wonder Bros Pod is our handle, and that's where Madison drops clips from the episodes all week long. Shout out to Madison, doing an amazing job for us on social media.
Incredible.
Everybody go and comment on the posts and say, "Hey, Madison, you're doing a great job."
Yeah. If you see at Cody James Harris or at Futurist JMLD, that's us.
Yeah, it's us.
If you see at Wonder Bros Pod, say hi to Madison.
That's her. And of course, you can also join us in the Wonderkin Discord. Links in the show notes. Come and join us there. That's where I post all kinds of unedited things, and it's going to be It's always so fun. We want to have a conversation there, and quick review goes a long way. So if the show's hit you in any way, would love to get a review from you, or at least give us a rating. And we hope this episode has inspired you to find the childhood wonder in your life this week. And we'll see you next Wednesday with Avengers Infinity War.
See you next week.